Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success talk show. My name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. I am a professional keynote speaker, personal brand expert, certified image consultant, a three-time author, as well as a United States Air Force veteran. 30 years, y'all. Okay, so this is my next chapter, my next act. And on today's show, y'all, I bring in a slay-mazing guest, okay, that are living their life on their own terms using the slay philosophies to make a positive impact. And what does that mean? Well, slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym which stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that resonate with me the most, that I share with you all, of how we can achieve our desired success, which is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, a sense of family, and knowing you are built to last. So if you're joining us live tonight, make sure that you tell us your name and where you're streaming in from, okay? Because we want to give you the shout out and we want to recognize you for being with us, because you could be a lot of different places. Y'all, this is the time of the year where I know football is on. Okay, I know that there are pumpkin patches and there's a lot of scary things out there that you could be doing. And so I value you when you come into this space and just spend a little time with us. So tonight, y'all, I have a guest who I met through the NASDAQ Milestone Circle program that we're in right now. And I knew she needed to be on the show because we are in alignment. Okay. We are in alignment when it comes to leadership, wellness, mindset. And so I wanted to bring her on here and have a conversation. So if you're here, hey, oh, that was me saying hi. Hey, Mosaic Sparks, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining us live, your continued support, being here in the building. Chevy, thank you so much for being here as well. Queens, we are in for a treat. And so I want to share a little bit about who our guest is tonight. Her name is Linda Adwoa, and she's going to let me know if I pronounced it right. Aidoo. Okay. She was born and raised in Ghana, West Africa. She moved to the United States after high school. She holds a bachelor's degree in business information systems and a master's in business administration. She is the founder of LindShal Consulting, through which she provides leadership and development training to business professionals and leaders to help elevate their positive impact in the workplace. Y'all, doesn't this sound very familiar? It's very familiar. I absolutely love it. We're going to have a great conversation. As an employee engagement and retention strategist, Linda is dedicated to empowering business leaders with a profound passion for fostering work environments that thrive on authentic happiness and dedication. She guides leaders to enhance their impact and build cultures that not only retain talent, but also drive productivity and revenue growth. She is also a licensed financial professional with the World Financial Group, where she helps individuals and families find financial security through wealth building strategies. And she is also an author and recently released her book, The Watchman, as well as a journal series called Gratitude Unlocks Miracles. Okay, I'm just saying, y'all, we about to have a treat here, all right, and have a really great conversation. So please welcome Linda to the stage. What's happening?
Hi, Rochelle. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I
Yes.
appreciate. I really appreciate. Yeah.
Yes. When we were talking a little bit and through our meet on the NASDAQ, I'm always looking for women, men who are in alignment with leadership, development, wellness. And as you were talking, and I put it out there and I said, hey, we are in the same world. I need you to be
Yeah.
on the show to tell the people what you do and how you do it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
tonight we're going to be talking a little bit through that, and then give the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you do it. So please, can we go back to before you came to the States? All right. So you're from
Mhm.
Ghana. So tell us a little bit about that journey and how you got to the States, and what is it that you do and how you do it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're
I
welcome.
truly, truly appreciate you are such an amazing person. And
Oh,
I'm deeply, deeply honored to be here today with you. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Yeah. So, yeah, just like you read, I was born and raised in Ghana. I have four siblings. I am the second. Three of us are here in the States. I also have another sister back home in Ghana. So I grew up in a very loving, wonderful family. My dad is highly educated. Mom is also educated, not as much as daddy, but dad has a PhD in math.
Hmm.
Yes. And so he moved to the United States, to pursue his PhD from Ghana. So he was already here. And then later on, mom also joined. But back home in Ghana, it was just awesome. It was a loving, wonderful family. I wouldn't say we were like rich, rich, but probably maybe like middle class.
Yeah.
I would say I would say middle class. But I also want to give my parents a lot of credit because they took me and my siblings to one of the best schools you can find in Ghana.
Hmm.
It was quite expensive, but they truly, truly sacrificed a lot to put us into some of the best schools you can ever find in Ghana. Yeah.
Wow. That is so amazing. So you left Ghana and now where are you living?
Yeah. So I finished high school in Ghana. And then when I was done, then I moved to United States with my little sister. I mean, she's not little anymore.
Right.
Yeah. And so I moved here, I believe 2003 was when I moved to United States. I moved here to Connecticut and I've been living in Connecticut since. I've visited other states, but I think I've been staying in Connecticut for all this while.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, we were talking y'all earlier today and we were talking about the weather. And, the further north you get, the colder it is. And she's like, it's cold here. And it was a cultural shock for you when you moved from Africa to Connecticut because of the weather. Was there a specific reason why you chose Connecticut?
So I wouldn't say there was a specific reason why I chose. I moved here because my parents were here.
Yeah.
Yes. So my dad finished his PhD in University of Vermont, and then when he was done, he got a job in Connecticut, so he moved over here. So obviously, when my sister and I were coming, we're coming to mom and dad, so we had to be here with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can now see that then. There's a connection. you know, um, because I have a lot of friends, and y'all, as we know, um, if you're all of our different experiences and our backgrounds that we all have, and I was in the military for a very long time, and I was always very curious as to the journey of getting to the States if you lived outside of the States, and at that time asking them, what was the reason why they joined the Air Force, in the States as opposed to the military forces that they have in their country.
Mhm.
And I always had a deeper appreciation because you're coming here without, a lot of knowledge, if you will, about the States. And then you're able to really make the life, right? Create a life for yourself, for your family.
Mhm.
And, I was reading your bio, and as we were talking, you got into the leadership world, right?
Yes.
And you have like termed yourself as well as the persons, if you will. So tell us a little bit about your leadership philosophies, or what is it that you understand and know about leadership that can help our audience understand why you got into that.
Okay. So I believe that, employees are the greatest assets to any company, any organization, whether small or big. And there is this saying that we all love to say that happy employees are productive employees, you know. And I think sometimes we just say it and not really put the work behind making the employees happy.
Yeah.
So to me, having a leadership that's really influential or that's really impactful in the workplace means making sure that your employees are really happy, and not just happy as in, hey, 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 we are happy,
Right.
but they are actually satisfied. They are in a place where it's not toxic, you
So
know.
before you move on, right?
Yeah.
And into that, I do want to ask you, what are the indications that your employee is happy? Because
Mm.
I know we got a lot of people who saying kiki and ha ha and everything else into the work center, and really they're not. So, what would be some of the behaviors, if you will, that can, point to this is a happy employee?
Okay. So for me, if you are happy, then you have you don't if you are happy, you are not thinking of leaving,
Mm,
right? Mentally, you are okay. You are not too stressed. You are not overworked. You are being paid right, right? You are
mm-hmm.
being paid right. You are not being paid less. You come to work and you are not there just because of the money, but you know that your work is being appreciated. Somebody appreciates the work that you do. Somebody has value of what you do. They really show some level of gratitude towards what you do, you know
Mm-hmm.
versus if you are in a place where you are not happy, it's like the thought of going to work alone makes you sick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people that I know that are going to work sick, because they are not, like you said, fulfilled. They're feeling like this is just something that they just clock into. No one really cares
Mhm.
about what they want to do, or their desires, their future goals, and so forth. So, as a person that's going into the organization, what are you evaluating? What is your measuring sticks when you go in and you're looking to see whether or not these employees are happy?
Number one, I'm looking to see, are you fulfilled professionally?
Mm.
Are you on the right career path? Is this place the place that you want to be, let's just say 2 3 years from now? Is this the place where when you wake up in the morning and you feel like, what, I really want to be in this place? I'm not just showing up because I need to have the bills paid. That's the reason why I am showing up. I'm
Right.
showing up because this is the place where I feel like I can make an impact. This is a place where I can see myself growing professionally. This is a place where I see that I can be successful, or it can even contribute to the success of my career, you know.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you are going to work and you are not being able to, see yourself in some of these things that I'm talking about, and I think you need to sit back and be asking yourself, is this the place that I want to continue to show up to?
Yeah. So you talking about the employees. Do you address the leaders?
I do.
Okay, so let's just talk about that then. All right, because if the employees are not satisfied and they're not happy and so forth, then what is this discussion that you have with the leaders? Because culture, again, being in leadership roles for a very long time, it takes time for culture to change. You can't change it overnight, right?
Mm,
And it starts with the leaders. So what are some of the conversations that you've had with leaders? Maybe give us some hard conversations that you've had with leaders and tell us, what the outcome of that was.
okay. So I think let me give you just something simple. And this is the one that mostly like when I ask this question, I'm able to find out whether you are that person who is really making your employees happy or not. And one of the major questions that I usually ask is how do you appreciate or recognize your team?
Hmm.
How do you do that? And most of the times I get to hear, stuff like, well, we do have employee of the month celebration for people. We also have the holiday parties that we do and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I let them talk and talk and talk, but the moment they start telling me holiday parties, employee of the month and all of that, I'm like, okay. What happens to every day?
Exactly.
What happens to people just saying thank you or writing just a meaningful thank you note at the end of the day to that person who comes to clean the bathrooms?
Mm. Yeah.
When
I
was
mean,
the last time? Oh, I'm sorry. So,
go
when
ahead, go
was
ahead.
the last time you, as a CEO, just wrote a little thank you note to the person who sits at the gate, at the parking lot, to the lady who comes to clean the bathrooms, cleans the office, take the trash out? When was the last time you just stopped by to say, hey, I just want to say thank you and just want you to know that we appreciate what you have been doing for us every day?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Listen, yes, I agree because again, I wanted to ask you that question because, the leaders of any organization, they set the tone and the temperature of what those employees, how they come in, how they, enter rooms, how they talk, what they do, the productivity, it all comes into play, and everyone is involved. It don't matter if they are taking out the trash or they're the ones that are sitting at the table making the big decisions. We got one comment here from Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay, welcome to the Slate to Success Talk Show. She said, great question. I asked about that as well. How they recognize their employees tells a lot.
That's
It
true.
really, really does.
Mhm.
And employees know whether or not you're being sincere and
Mhm.
genuine, or if you're just trying to check the box, because you haven't acknowledged your teammates in a while. And now you come in, Linda, and they like all of a sudden, and now they're going to start recognizing folks because they're getting watched. Thank you so much, Kayron, for being here. Love, love, love that you are here with us tonight. Um, so yeah, so as we are continuing the leaders, the what are some of the qualities that you think are very, I would say they stand out more than others of a great leader? What are some of those qualities?
Mm. I think first of all, you should be able to have easy communication.
Mm,
Easy communication. It doesn't matter your level or the hierarchy that you go to. Communication is key. It starts from there. And then also being somebody who truly appreciates the people that you lead, the people that, I always say people that you are privileged enough to be leading.
Yes.
Because without them, you are not the leader that you are.
No, at all.
It is the people who makes you the leader that you are.
Yeah.
So having value, having a sense of appreciation, having a system of appreciation or recognition in place, so that you can always let the people know how much you value them. Because one thing that I believe leaders need to understand is when you show people that you value them, um, when you let them feel that they are seen, when you let them know that they are being heard,
Mm-hmm.
um, these kind of things will allow them to go far above and beyond
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to productivity. You know, these are the things that drives productivity. These are the things that will allow any employee to go far above and beyond for you, because we all have it within us. We
Mm-hmm.
all want to be seen. We all want to be appreciated. We all want our voices to be heard. And so, if you can meet those needs in any place, in any setting, whether in the family, in the workplace, wherever you find yourself as a leader, if you can meet these needs of the people that you are privileged enough to be leading, trust me, you will start seeing a ripple effect in the way that they show up to do the work that you are expecting them to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree 100%. Um, and I do want to know, when do you get called in? Because, like
That's a
at
great
what point?
question.
Huh?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
Yeah, mostly when it's like things are so bad.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like, they call you in to come do the evaluation, give them a report, and then what? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I think that the conversation of being a great leader, it leadership is very complex. It's very personal to the person based on their experiences. And so, diving into leadership and trying your best to maneuver and navigate into conditions. And let's not even talk about COVID, okay? Because the COVID done messed stuff up, y'all, with as far as these work centers.
Hmm.
Okay, so there's a lot of things that now leaders have to be concerned about and how they run a ship, if you will.
Yeah.
And Kayron said, kind words go a long way. There is nothing like experiencing an employer taking time to let their team members know that they are appreciated personally.
Mm, mm,
Exactly. And it's, sometimes it's, and I wouldn't say sometimes, I say most of the times it's an individual thing, right?
yeah.
You can expect sometimes the same reaction from someone else when you give them the same type of acknowledgement. You really have to know your people
Yeah.
and know what works for them. Some people like thank yous.
Hmm.
Some people like little small gifts.
Hmm.
Some people like time off.
Yeah.
Some people like awards, like money, stuff like that. So you have to really know who your people are and try your best, because you're not going to get it right all the time. I'll
Mm.
just say that right now. You wouldn't get that right all the time.
Yeah.
So, so leadership is, one of your things that you are definitely invested in and very passionate about. Did that come from some situation that occurred to you, that now, you're on this, like, let's make sure these work centers are good to go? Sometimes that happens.
Yeah. 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 So that's a great question. I think now looking back, I think it's more of a calling right now.
Mm,
I see this as a calling. Initially, I didn't think about it that way, but now I look at it as a form of a calling. So let me backtrack to 2019 to 2020 when COVID was about to hit. I had this friend who is a single mom. She had two kids at the time. And let me tell you, if you know of any woman who is truly dedicated to her work, it was this woman. Okay. Um, but out of nowhere, one day she called me and she's like, Linda, I'm about to leave my workplace. I'm like, what? What are you gonna do? She's like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm leaving this place because it's just too toxic. I am the only Black person on the team, and it's just, I've just had it. I've just had enough. So I'm just gonna leave. I'm like, is there not anything you can do? She's like, listen, I've been to HR. I have done every single thing that I feel like I need to do. But at this point, I am choosing between life and death.
Mm.
Hmm. And so the moment she said that, I was like, wow. She's like, yeah. So, long story short, she left the workplace. She just, and this is the place that she has worked for 11 solid years.
Mm-hmm.
So she left. And I remember when she was leaving, I was like, so what are you going to do? How are you going to take care of these kids and all of that? She's like, girl, I'm just leaving. I'm like, okay. I'd rather have you alive than. So she left. But you see, I'm a person of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she left, I remember being so sad and then being upset at the same time. And so I remember spending time in prayer one day and I'm like, God, I just feel so bad. I just feel so sad. I even wish I could even help her, but I don't even know how to help this lady. And then while in the presence of the Lord, the Holy Spirit just said to me, Linda, I have given you the tools. I've given you the resources. I've given you a lot of training. You know too much about what she is going through for you not to. I'm like, I don't know how to do. What am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really know too much about what the Lord was telling me. But I remember being so upset, being so angry, and I told myself I was going to blog about toxic work environment. That was what I
Mm.
thought I was going to do. So I bought myself a blogging book, like how to start, blogging and all of that. So that was what I was going to do. So I have my topics, I had things that I wanted to write about, and all of it. Long story short, COVID hit, and we were all back. Like nobody was going to work. So I was just at home and all of that. So again, the Spirit of God just continued to say to me, Linda, I have given you tools, I've given you strategies. What are you going to do? I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do this blogging thing. So I took a class. All right. I took an online class because I wanted to actually invest in myself. I didn't want to just show up and just be writing stuff. I wanted to like invest in myself. So I bought I signed up for this online course and then I took that class. And then during that class, there was an assignment that I had to do. And then after you finish the assignment, you post it so that your team members could just, review it. So I did that. And I remember when I posted my assignment, people were just giving me reviews and all of that. There was one particular lady who came for me. She just came for me in the comments. I mean, not in a bad way.
Oh, okay. I was going to say she coming for you, Linda. Like, give me her name. Give me her name.
But she came and she was like, Linda, you have no idea what you have. What you have is what companies and organizations need. What you have just put on this platform is what leaders in companies and big organizations, and this is what we need in the workplace. You are sitting on a business idea. You need to do something with this. So the moment she said, I was like, I am sitting on a business idea. I was like, okay. So that was where I got my business idea from. So I by the end of the day, I just knew exactly what the Spirit of God was saying to me. And He was saying to me, you know what? You have been in a lot of leadership trainings, you have been in strategic steering committees, you have been on so many platforms, you have sat with top executives, you have been in trainings upon trainings. If people like you show up in the workplace and begin to talk to top executives about some of these things that this lady is going through, you know, who knows? Who knows? Changes will start coming to the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment I started, like connecting the dots and everything, I was like, okay, this is what God wants me to do. Right. And so for me, when it comes to leadership, it's not about money. It's not so much about my company. It's more of a passion. It's more of a calling. Because if I can stop one woman from being um, laid off, if I can stop one woman from, getting depressed because of a toxic work environment, to me, I feel like my job has been done. If I can speak to one executive and show them how to actually treat the employees well, how to value them, how to respect them, how to give the same level of honor, the same level of respect that you will give to the CEO, that you can also give that same level of respect, that same level of honor to the cleaning person in the organization, I feel like my job has been done. And so, what I do is more of a passion, it's more of a calling. I want to help as many leaders as much as I can, yeah.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, y'all. I'm just telling you, when I find guests, I know that they are the right person for the show because the passion that we just heard and you sharing a story of another woman having to choose between life and death, and that was very much a theme for a lot of women having to decide to stay in a work environment during the pandemic. The trueness of what they were going through was there in their face, and they had to decide. So I love that you're in the consultant space where you're helping executive leaders, make sure that their organizations have a thriving culture. They have people who are coming to work and actually want to be at work. And so, we also talked a little bit about knowing your calling, and I know that that is something that people something may have a hard time to do, right? Sometimes we don't know, but your faith, and we talk about faith here a lot, but this is what we, are is we know God is working. Okay. He works with us and he shows us, and we have to be able to respond and to, do the things, the works that you can do to help solve problems. And so I absolutely love your story, and I thank you for sharing that. Dwayne also, he's here. Thank you, Dwayne, for being here tonight. And he said, yeah, kindness matters. All right, it does matter. Of course, Karen. Hey, Karen, how you doing? What's happening? I just saw her at the breakfast on Thursday, so she put in sleigh. So y'all, this has been so good. I do want to, talk a little bit through about wellness. Now, one of the areas that I talk about is financial wellness. All
Mm,
right. And so you are a financial consultant as well.
yeah.
And what kind of got you to that point? Hold on, Glenroy's here too. Glenroy, hey, let's get this comment going here. Okay. When we exhibit respect to those who are subordinates, they don't have a problem going through the fire with you when things get tough. So many supervisors don't pull from their early histories in their careers in order to be the supervisors that they wish they had would have been.
Mm,
And I'm that's an amen, Glenroy,
amen.
because this
Mhm.
is so true.
Yes.
Sometimes when you get so far up or so far away from what people are experiencing every day, you don't really see what your journey was.
Mm,
And, you get disconnected. So being in tune and understanding there are things that you could do to help. You don't have to make it hard. All right, just because you may have had it hard or you didn't get what you thought you needed doesn't mean that the other folks should have to suffer and go through that. I
mm,
mean, there's a mentality sometimes with that,
mm,
like I ain't get that, so you ain't getting that. And and it just goes on. It's a vicious cycle.
mm.
So thank you for sharing that, Glenroy, and adding that to the conversation. So I do want to talk about finances because, in this world today, there are some folks that are really struggling with finances, and again, there has been a lot of different factors that have done that. People have left their jobs. Their economy, the way that it is right now, things are
Mhm.
higher in prices. You just to try to do anything anyway, it costs more money than it did back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about financial wellness and, what is it that you do with that? And give us, some strategies or some tips that you may share with your clients or folks that come to you for help.
Thank you so much. So, it kind of ties into what you were saying. Money is pretty much we can't do anything without money. But I think sometimes we complain about all of us not having enough, you know.
Yep.
Yep.
I need more money. Y'all got some money out there? Like, send it my way. I would not be, I won't be like it's bad or anything. I'll be like, well, thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think when it comes to money, what I'm realizing is sometimes it's not because we don't have enough.
Mm,
Sometimes it's what we do with what we have
yeah.
that
How you feel
actually
about that?
matters. Sometimes, let me say it again, sometimes it's not because we don't have enough. Sometimes the issue is what we do with what we have.
Y'all get that?
Okay.
I
So
mean, I'm listening. Okay, let's keep it going.
I am snatching some edges. Uh, what are you doing with what you have? What are you doing with the money you're making from your job or your job? What are you doing with that? You know, with the little that you have, if you continue to put it into one place, which a lot of us think is the bank,
Mhm.
the more you study finance, then the more you get into investment, the more you realize that you put in your money only in a savings, at the bank somewhere. It's you doing the banks a favor.
Mhm.
That's what you're doing. Because what these banks are doing is they are taking your money and they are going to invest it into other investment options, and they are making a lot of money and they are making the big profits, and when the big profits comes, it goes to them.
Mm,
And then for you, you don't even get to have like 4% of interest on the money you have put into the bank.
mm,
So you need to look at other ways to invest the money that you have. You need to look at other ways to put the money in a place so that, for instance, if you're going on retirement, you are not just putting all the investment into 401k. It's good, but there are other life insurance, investment options that you can also put some of the money in there,
Mm-hmm.
so that when it gets to time for retirement, you are not just depending solely on one account, right? When it comes to investment, we always say don't put your eggs into one basket.
Yep.
Don't put everything into your 401k thinking that, okay, when I go on retirement, it's going to be the. Ask yourself, what other options do I have? And trust me, there are options. So when I come in, I bring you the other life investment, life insurance options that we have, um, depending on the journey that you are on, whether you are nearing retirement or you are someone who is just building a family, maybe you have kids. You need to start putting something down for towards your kids' college fund or education, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
most times we have been told that you only need to look at the 529 account. No, there are more. There are more that you can do with what you have on hand, right?
Yeah.
So when I come in, I bring you a lot of the options that we have, so that you don't just put your money at the bank thinking that it's going to do something for you. No, it's not. They are just, you're just doing them a favor. That's what I love to tell people. You are just doing them a favor because they are taking this money and they are putting this money into some of these life insurance investments, which
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of protection when it comes to the IRS. Okay. So I'm not going to go into details on this show, but I'm just saying, there are a lot of options when it comes to what you have on hand. There is more you can use the money to do so that the money can work for you.
Exactly. And that's really what I wanted you to share with us is, money should be working for us. There is a lot of stories that I've heard about the stress and the overwhelm of not having this resource. Money is a resource,
Mhm,
it's an option, right? And then there are options on how you can either invest, save, or make your money, work for you and your family. And I
mhm,
think that it's important that we always include financial wellness into, and I talk about the 8 dimensions of wellness, y'all. So we're talking about the physical, emotional,
mhm,
spiritual. Did I say spiritual? Spiritual, emotional, physical, intellectual, occupational, financial is one of them.
mhm.
And so we always need to think about our wellness, and as one of them being finances, where are you at?
Yeah.
And what is it that we're spending our money on?
Mm.
Because like my mom and dad used to tell me, money don't grow on trees, y'all.
No,
Okay.
never.
So I just can't go to the tree and just click it off the tree and be like, let me go pay for this and pay for that. All right, Glenroy. Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so many of us are trying to live the life of the influencers that we see, not knowing that their influence is shined up debt that they get others to invest in by going into their own debt.
Mm.
The offers so-called wisdom from behind the camera for a fee or membership. When we rely on basic financial principles, we are able to grow our income. The more that we learn from reputable sources who are not trying to get rich off of our financial struggles, the better off we will be financially. Stop trying. Yes, Glenroy, this right here. Look, I'm copying this and I'm saving this and I'm gonna put it somewhere. And I'm gonna be quoting you, Glenroy, because this is true. People, we're living in a digital age. All right. I do use social media for a lot of things that I share. But you're right. Folks are just paying into people who are already in debt.
Mm.
They're not gonna get you nowhere. So I don't know why we wasting our money, our time on things that are not really gonna help us at the end of the day. They're just really
Mhm.
not. So we talked a little bit about leadership, wellness, and I also want to talk about your book. All right, you're an author just like I am, and when you're an author of a book or a product or whatever, it really means that you put in some work, to make this thing reality. We all got a book in us. I think every person on this earth has a book. They have a story. They have to share. So tell us a little bit about your book. Like, why did you write it? What is it about? And you also said you have a journal, right? It's a
Yes,
journal part. So tell us a little bit about that.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I released my book last year in May. It's called The Watchman, and it's on Amazon, every online place where they sell books, you can find it.
Mm-hmm.
So, The Watchman pretty much it's taken from the book of Ezekiel, when the Lord actually spoke to the prophet Ezekiel and said, Son of man, I have made you a watchman over the house of Israel. Whatever I tell you to tell them, I'm just paraphrasing. Whatever I tell you to tell them, you better tell them. If you do, because if you don't want them, or if you don't tell them or relay the message that I give to you to tell them, I am going to hold you responsible, or I'm going to demand their blood from you if they
Mm.
continue in the sin that they are in. So, pretty much, the concept of the watchman is for believers to show up as the children of God that God has made us to be in every space that we find ourselves in. So whether you find yourself in the workplace, in the classroom, on social media, wherever space God has entrusted into your hand, He's expecting you to be the light over there.
Mm.
He's expecting you to be the salt in that place. He's expecting you to be the one who is like the gatekeeper of that place. And gatekeepers are very, very, because gatekeepers are the people who decide who comes into the place and who leaves from the place. In other words, you are part of the people who shift the direction that a decision is supposed to go.
Mm.
So when you know your place, or you know your calling as a watchman, you don't talk anyhow. You don't do things anyhow. You don't raise your kids anyhow. You decide the kind of parenting you are going to give to your kids. You decide what your kids watch at home. You decide what comes into your home and what leaves out of your home. So, being a watchman is actually walking in the consciousness of the fact that wherever you find yourself, you are representing the Heavenly Father. So, pretty much that's what the book is all about. Yeah.
Okay, that ain't all. I mean, you just put a whole sermon up in here. And I'm telling y'all, if you're not listening to what Linda has just said, I'm over here like, hallelujah, and thank you, like the gatekeepers. Okay. Um, okay. She makes a great point. Gatekeepers aren't always there to keep information and people in. They also have the responsibility to know who is supposed to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, this is this is a conversation that we're having. You know, when we're walking in the light, and when you said it's the light, right? People know, like without even talking to you, your aura and
Mm,
how you see things and how you move, how the kids moving, how
mm,
how the things around you are shifting in such a way where, like you said, it's in alignment. And I love love, love, love. It's the analogy of the life, right? How we live in our life, and how do people perceive us in the light?
Mhm.
And you writing about this, I mean, what made you write about this, first of all?
Well, you are asking me more transparent questions here.
Yes, that's what we
So,
do on here on the Slated Success
all
Talk
right.
Show.
So let me be transparent with you.
Yeah.
This is a prophetic book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a prophetic book. I didn't just get up one day and said, I'm gonna write a book, and the title is going to be this. No, this is something tied to my destiny. It is tied to my calling.
Mm.
So the title of the book was actually given to a minister back home in Ghana right after when I had finished high school. He had a vision, he had a revelation one day. He came to me and said, the Spirit of God gave me a revelation about you. And in the dream or in the vision, I saw that you have written a book. And the title of the book says, The Watchman. I said, Me? I said, I don't know how to write any book. He said, No, I need you to go and write this down because this is what the Spirit of God is saying that you are going to do.
Mm.
And in the vision, the people that I saw selling the book, they didn't look like people from our country. The people that I saw selling your book are people who are outside of Ghana. I was like, now, mind you, at this point, I didn't even have a passport. Yeah. My parents had not told me and my sister they were going to bring us to America. But long after this man of God had given me this message, my parents called me and my sister and said, Hey, um, everything, all the paperwork, everything is done. Get yourself ready because the two of you will be coming to America. I have tried to run away from writing this book. Trust me.
Mm.
So I don't have time to go into the details, but I have tried to run away. I have tried to argue with God. I have tried to do every single thing that I could just to tell God I am not the right person to write a book.
Mm.
But with every excuse that I gave to God, God said, You are the one going to write it. 2015, I was in a car accident, which allowed me to have a brain injury. It took me about 3 years. We were hit by an 18-wheeler truck,
Mm.
and I had a brain injury as a result of that. It took me about 3 years for me to get my life back on track. I mean, if I don't tell you that I have been through that, you wouldn't know.
That's right.
But I say that to the glory of God. That was what God did. And so when I came out from that accident, then God said to me, Linda, there is an assignment on your life. There is something that I have placed on the inside of you that are tied to the destinies of other people. And you need to step into that place to bring it into fulfillment. And trust me, I just couldn't resist anymore. So I went on a journey to write, but every single time that I'll make up my mind to write, here comes the enemy. Here comes the mind attacks, telling me you are not good enough. People are not gonna be reading this book.
Mm.
You were not born here. You have an accent. I mean, all kinds of limiting beliefs. And it was just this mind games that the enemy was just playing on my mind. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I would stop. But again, during COVID season, I was on a 40-day fast.
Mm.
And during that season, the Spirit of God again said to me, Linda, you need to get this book out because this is what the body of Christ need in this season at this time. This is the message that I want my people to hear. So, I was like, okay, God, I just, I have to.
Goodness.
So,
Y'all.
so I was like, okay. So I gave up on all the excuses and I just, began to just put the pieces and all of it back together. And by the grace of God, it was released last year. So that's the story behind this book. It wasn't something that I just sat down to say, I'm going to write it. I always say this is a prophetic book. The message is a prophetic message to each and every one of us to step up and be the light, to be the salt in the space that God has given to each and every one of us.
Well, I absolutely love it. Y'all, it is Sunday, so that's what we are doing here. All right. Making sure you understand, all right, that you are one of God's children's. Okay. And so when he says, hey, you need to start doing something and you're listening really closely and you do it. And here Glenroy said, when we argue with God, it's like playing chess and he always gets to checkmate.
Mm,
Always.
mm,
Okay. So I
yeah.
absolutely love that. Mosaic Spark says she loves it. We are light everywhere we go. Some people who are not Christians, our light disturbs them, and we must be bold about it. So we still got to shine the light, even when others say no. Mosaic Sparks also says the enemy will come in all forms, but I know that God will give you whispers and they will
Mm,
come louder and louder. And you listen to it, Linda. And now you're sharing and spreading the news, if you will, um, and all the things that you do has just been a delight. Like all the things that you have shared, such wisdom, inspiration, knowing that, there is someone else, y'all, here that is doing absolutely slay amazing things. All right. And just coming on the show and have your time and your efforts and your energy. So I know we're at the top of the hour, and I like to close it up at the top of the hour. So just two more questions, if you will. So first of all, is there something that you want to share with our audience before I ask you the last question before we go?
I think I talked about it before in my last, yeah. So what I wanted to say is wherever God has put each and every one of us, don't underestimate what you carry. Don't
Mm.
underestimate yourself. There is something that God has placed on the inside of each and every one of us that God wants us to do. If you're doing it, God bless you. Keep doing it more. And I want you to know that destinies are connected to what God has given to you.
Mm.
Um, if you refuse to light up your candle, someone may fall into the ditch. Um, don't dim your light. Don't dim your candle. Just continue to shine brighter wherever God has placed wherever God has placed you or whatever space you find yourself in. And I just want to say thank you so much, and God richly bless you too for having me on here. I know we are not done, but I just feel like.
Yeah. I'm telling you, all of what you said has just been so good. And your aura, the way that you came here and just spread the good news. I'm just like, yes, let's talk more about that. This. So Mosaic Spark says, thank you for your incredible transforming story. I'm so glad God favored you through that car accident that you were in, and now that you recovered and still walking it out, Queen. You're still walking it out. All right. So the last question of the evening is, on your 80th birthday party, if God gives you those days, what would you want your family and your friends to say about you?
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Um, I just want them to say, here's a woman who loved God and shared the love of God with every person that she met.
And you have, well, at least up in here. Okay. So I can say for sure. When you came on the show, you did. You know, even K Ron says he took us all the way to church. So thank you. Y'all who didn't go to church today, if you didn't go, that's okay. You got what you needed here. All right, and you're gonna leave full. So I just want to say thank you again, Linda, for being here on the show. Y'all, we are inching our way up to the 50th episode of the Slate to Success talk show for the year. I think Linda is number 46. If you're following me on LinkedIn, you have seen that I posted the first half of the episodes. I just reintroduced them back into the queue, if you will, for people to be reminded of when they were on the show and to listen in. So if you were a guest on the show, which a lot of you who are here were, just know I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. We're getting towards the end of the year, where I am just acknowledging all of the people in my community. Lucy says, God bless you, Linda, for responding to the call. You've shown us that we can silence those voices in our heads just by responding and shining our lights. Yes, she has, Lucy. Okay. So thank you all for being here at this hour. We had Chevy, Mosaic Sparks, Lindsay, Kayron, Dwayne, Karen, Glenroy, Lucy, thank y'all for really being here and supporting us tonight. And of course, you know what's going to happen next Sunday night. I always want to say Saturday. It's Sunday night, y'all. Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I have yet another guest that I'm going to bring to us to give us more inspiration, more empowerment. So please come back next Sunday and keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. And I'll see you all very soon. Love you. Bye bye.